Introducing Foxtail Meadows. This brand new course to Disc Golf Valley is an exciting one. The course is set on a large hillside, which brings elevation changes into play on most of the holes. Foxtail Meadows gets its name from the new type of grass that's common in this type of place in real life, foxtails. There are plenty of elevation changes throughout the course, so it will take some learning to figure out which discs to use and how much power to give them. Sometimes you're throwing straight uphill and need to use a lot more power than the distance marker suggests. Sometimes you're throwing down a steep hill and need to throw a lot softer than you'd expect to make sure you don't go OB long. And then there are times when you're throwing down a massive hill, but you want to bite off as much distance as you can, so you get to full send your distance driver out to 1,200 feet. Nice. Arthur, the spin-off employee who's largely responsible for course design, describes Foxtail Meadows as one that should be fun for newer Disc Golf Valley players to get birdie, and fun for the Disc Golf Valley pros to be going for eagles. Arthur explains that he got the idea for the course when he was working on Maple Hill for Disc Golf Valley. He stumbled upon an interesting looking hole from the real-life Pro Tour and immediately knew he wanted it in the game. He doesn't remember which course or what hole it was, but it ended up as hole 6 on Foxtail Meadows. Can you help Arthur remember which real-life hole this resembles? Drop a comment if you think you have the right one. After having hole 6 stuck in his mind for months, and how cool the green was on that hole, he wondered what other kind of awesome greens there were in real-life courses. That sparked the idea of having interesting greens on each hole on the entire course. This is why the course's code name was Project Green, while it was a work in progress. Overall, this course provides plenty of exciting holes with separation potential at all levels of play. Let's jump in and look at each of the holes, where their challenges are, and a few exclusive insights into the development process along the way. Hole 1 offers an eagle potential right off the bat. At 665 feet, you're going to need a distance driver to get into eagle range. A forehand throw off the tee here is highly recommended. If you feel like getting cheeky, you can consider a backhand throw off the tee in a big tailwind and try and park the basket. However, if you're off even slightly, you're gonna have a bad time. The perfect tee shot is a forehand throw that skips off the small flat spot on the hillside so that your disc continues up the hill for your throwing attempt. If you miss that perfect landing zone on a forehand, your disc will skip straight along the hillside, and you'll be left with a much tougher throw-in that goes steep up the hill to try and save your eagle. After completing hole 1, you'll carefully navigate down the steep hill to the tee pad of hole 2. Hole 2 ranges in at 489 feet, but plays significantly downhill to the beautiful green with the basket set on the tractor, reminiscent of hole 18's basket at Overås Disc Golf Park in Norway. Most far-flying fairway drivers will make it to this green without a problem for a relatively simple throw-in, unless the wind is up. However, make sure you make it all the way to that green, since missing the island is a hazard stroke, so you'll be taking a stroke penalty and throwing from where you land. When you're done enjoying the picturesque views from hole 2's basket, step off the green to the conveniently close tee pad of hole 3. Hole 3 is a daunting looking 601 feet through a narrow tunnel and out to the green with a gorgeous view of the ocean. There's a clear fairway to take, but if you want to get creative, you can go with a Simon line around the right side. The danger of the right side is a miss going down into the water and ending up OB. For this hole, it makes the most sense to throw a simple glide skip distance driver down the obvious fairway. If you're a little bit off your line, you get to decide whether to take the risky throw-in downhill or the simple layup for birdie. The perfect drive is incredibly satisfying to hit and is rewarded with a tap-in eagle. To find hole 4, Turn yourself around and head back up the fairway. Take a sharp right about halfway back to the tee pad and climb uphill to the tee pad of hole 4. Hole 4 is what course designer Arthur says is his favorite design for the different possible shots that can be made from the fairway. This hole is a long 980 feet downhill to a fantastic tiered platform green. I see 2 primary options to the basket here, and you'll likely find more. The first option is the obvious fairway down the middle. This shot can even be hit with a glide sapphire or shift. No distance driver is needed. The second shot is at sapphire again to get you within 100 feet of the basket. Make sure you're making adjustments to your throw-in power since the basket is elevated up on that pyramid. A second option is to take your glide skip distance driver and bail out to the left side of the landing zone. The shot into the green from here used to be much more open, but is filled in with some trees to make the approach a little more difficult, to require you to find a line to carve through the trees or consider going over the top. No matter which route you take, an eagle on hole 4 requires excellent execution on at least one of the 3 shots. You'll find hole 5 to the right of the basket and up the hill past the tee pad for hole 7 and the basket for hole 6. Hole 5 is a unique design with a straightforward tee shot out to the landing zone, and then a very steep downhill approach to the green. The obvious tee shot is a flippy-skippy driver out to the back wall. Be warned, the stakes on this course do have collision turned on. The approach is a floaty putter down the hill to get yourself close for an easy birdie. However, there's a much more exciting and risky play of the roller off the tee. If you can hit this cut roller just right, you'll be rewarded with a very easy second shot for eagle. If you don't like exercise much, you're in luck here, since hole 6's tee pad is just about 5 steps away. Hole 6 is the hole that started it all, and Archer's favorite hole for his visuals. After all, envisioning this hole led to the existence of this entire course. Can you solve which real-life Pro Tour hole this one resembles? With OB directly behind the basket, most ace runs are out of the question, except for some of you crazy folks. The birdie play here is to get as close to that basket as you can, but try to aim for that second tier of the green so you don't risk OB and still get relatively close for the birdie putt. Hole 7 is just a few steps downhill and brings a big elevation change into play the other direction. A massive uphill tee shot requires much more power than a 261 feet would make you think. The flyover is just taking a direct route at the basket, which requires a distance driver to get you up to the green. A good shot is rewarded with a very simple putt. However, I would contend that the much safer birdie is a fairway driver off the tee, out to the left, and leaving yourself a 60 to 80 foot throw-in for the birdie. You get to hole 8, you turn around for the basket, and go a little bit further up the hill. To get to the tee pad, you head straight uphill, just going right past a few trees. Should get you right to the tee pad. Hole 8 has a huge downhill drive with a double mando about 3/4 of the way down the fairway, to keep you honest. The green is wonderfully manicured on a peninsula for a great photo op moment. This hole feels a lot like Ikigai Enso in that a long, perfect drive is rewarded with an eagle look. But a missed drive quickly gives you par at best. The first obstacle to clear is the creek. Next, you need to navigate the double mando to get yourself into the green for a clean look at your birdie. Of course, you can try going big off the tee with a glide skip driver, just go for the eagle. If you miss the double mando, you'll go to a drop zone with birdie completely out of play. However, if you hit it just right, you'll be gaining some strokes on your card. If you don't like exercise, maybe just quit right now after 8 holes. If you don't mind a little hiking, turn around and head way back up the hill, past the green of hole 2, and all the way up to the tee pad of hole 9, where you're rewarded with this amazing view and a beautifully framed out tee shot. For hole 9, I asked Artur if there is anything else about this course that only he knew so far. He told me that ever since he started working at Spinoff, he knew he wanted to make a course that had wind turbines, so it's nice to finally have that goal checked off. It is indeed checked off with the 3 large turbines in the middle of the course and a prominent feature that we saw in hole 2 and now in hole 9. This massive downhill drive lets you open up the throttle and let one rip. If you get a little bit offline, you may need to pitch out your second shot and take a birdie at best. However, a clean drive flies way down the fairway and gives a good look into the green for an eagle. And now it's your turn. Get out there to explore, find your own lines, enjoy all the valley has to offer, find an ace, find that unexpected eagle, find your way to get creative, and enjoy everything Foxtail Meadows.